Non-directive counseling, client-oriented, and the clients and the counseling. Carl Rogers is the mainly exponent, chief exponent. Counseling allowed the free expressions here. Counselor only rule the direct and the guide. So you are the passive here. In case of direct, your role was active, but in case of the non-directive counseling, your role is the passive. Counselor asks a few questions so that to think about the solution to the problem. So here is important. Most of the, even BM Professor BM Hegde, uh, renowned heart specialist and the vice chancellor of the Manipal University, ex vice chancellor, former vice chancellor of the Manipal University, Mahe. He used to say that the child before coming to the school is more curious, but when he coming to the schools and their curiosity may be minimized. That means school system. That means the role of school system is make the child more questions. But when he is coming to the school, the number of question is less. Now, when the child is before age of 3 years, like 2 years, 2.5 years, he is randomly asking many questions. Why it is happening? Why that is happening? What is the relationship? So there are many questions. But when he is entering into the school question is stopped. That means when the question is stopped, you may not get the solution. Why? Because if your question is stopped, you may not get the solution. See, uh, uh, for example, just for demo, you may ask any question. Please ask anyone. Any questions? Please ask me or anyone in between you. Ask any questions. গৌতম কোনো একটা প্রশ্ন আমাকে জিজ্ঞাসা করো, যে কোনো কোশ্চেন।
Sir, how is non-directive counseling different from directive counseling?
ওকে, ডাইরেক্টিভ এতক্ষণ ধরে বললাম, তুই বুঝতে পারো নি?
মানে কোশ্চেন ইন দ্য সেন্স হোয়াট স্যার?
না না, what that means here I am telling you that, okay, let me clear one thing. Directive counseling, non-directive counseling, আমি তো পড়িয়েছি, দেখো স্লাইডে আছে, দেখে নিতে পারো।
Yes sir.
Next question. Would you like to ask the next question? If you get the response from your opposite side whom you are asking the questions, and he is answering like this, that it is already there in the slide, please see it, please check it. Would you, as a student, would you be interested to ask the more question to the teacher, to the faculty?
No sir.
Okay, next question. When I am giving you the answer, please check my slide, or already I have shown you. That means I have whether I am giving you the response or not. Have I give you the response? Given you the response? তোমার কোশ্চেনের পরিপ্রেক্ষিতে যখন বলেছি স্লাইডটা দেখে নাও, তখন কি তোমার কোশ্চেনে আমি আনসার দিয়েছি না দেইনি?
স্যার আপনি গাইড করে দিয়েছেন।
Have I responded or not?
Yes sir, you have responded sir.
Okay, I have responded. Whether you are satisfied?
Not wholeheartedly.
Just openly. Just I am asking whether you are
not wholeheartedly. Not
okay, wholeheartedly. Why you are not satisfied?
Because I have to go back to the slide and miss the things which is going on and look.
Okay, you have to check, you have to rethink, you have to again connected what are the difference between directive and the non-directive counseling. One thing, and another thing also important. Now, if you see from my perspective, when I am asking questions, most of the time, when the person who is framing the question, he is expecting some answer. His brain is automatically calculating an answer. Isn't it?
Yes
মানে
sir.
যখন আমি প্রশ্ন করছি, always the questions coming with the answer, anything in any format. Even if I ask you that where are you going, if the person says, oh, why do I tell you, that means I have responded to you, but your response may not satisfy you because you have already preset one answer in your brain. in your thinking process, there is a preset answer is there. That means questions never come only with the questions. It comes along with the answer. So that means when you are making, or when you are allowing them, let them questions, or when you are let them answer, or when you are assisting to your client to give your answer, to you are basically framing them. Then you are directing in one way in non-directive counseling. So I am not giving you the proper solution. If when I am telling you that you have to check the slide and you can get the answer, that means you have to check, you have to get your answer. I am not claiming your answer. I am not giving directly answer. In the directive counseling, what I would do, and I give you the just the column that there is a directive counseling, non-directive answer. So these are the differences, these are the similarities, these are the dissimilarities. So in such way, I am directly giving you an answer. But in case of non-directive counseling, most of the time the counselor not directly giving the answer, but rather when he is asking the questions, that means questions giving the clue to the client so that he may solve his own problem. So that is the main thing. And here the person is basically became the self-independent. And anytime such type of problem is creating or such type of problem is occurring, he might solve the problems by his own. That is important. And counseling takes active part, as I am not giving you the suggestion. So that means you have to do the active part, genuine insight into the problems with the help of the counselor, and arise the decision and the taken the action. As I mentioned, just few months back, I was going Delhi. So that one a lady was going with me in train compartment, and later on, I have introduced there. We were discussing about that she was going to her son who stood fast in MCA, MSc, MSc in plastic surgery, rank first, all India rank first. And he was telling about his son, and that at the age of 3 years, the child was admitted in Darjeeling in a convent school. And when she went there to meet with his child, within 10 days, the 3 years old child is taking his food by own, he is doing his bed, he is just arranging his bag, and even taking his own days, and even the he is preparing himself for school also within 10 days. But when the child is at home, so it may took at least when the child is class in even the class 8, class 9, that time. That means if we give the proper, most of the time, what we may say that our self defense is that she is so, or he is so small, he is unable to take care of him or herself by his own. But if you give the proper intervention, if you give the proper training, the child may be able to do his own work even from the age of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But most of the time, we do not believe on the child's ability. As a result, we make them the dependent on the caregivers. বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রেই হয়, সে রেখেছো বাঙালি করে মানুষ করনি, রবীন্দ্রনাথের কথা। মানে আমরা ওই আতুতুতু করে রাখি বলেই দেখা যায় যে চাইল্ডের ডিপেন্ডেন্সিটা থেকে যায়। And এটা পরবর্তীকালে it may create the problems in future also when the child is dependent in ADL skill like eating, dressing, toileting. Those child may have problems in decision making, and those child definitely may have problem in the marital relationship. So that means uh, one way we are talking about just about the self-help skill, just about the life skill, and another way it may have the direct impact in the other aspects of life, even the emotional decision, even the marriage, even the sibling relationships. In many things may be problematic due to this personal skill, not independent in the personal skill training. So that is also important. Next part, counselor role is passive. Already I have mentioned. Goal is independent and integration of the client rather than the solutions. So here is important. And one thing nowadays, always I tell you and I in my class also. Nowadays, the slightly there is a change in the definition. There is a change in the objectives of the school, objectives of the education. Previously, it was said that objectives of education is make the child independent. But now we are saying the objectives of education make the child independent through interdependence. But here, there is no need you become the independent. If you know from you will get the support. That is also enough. So when you are going the road, you may not know the in which direction you have to go. But if you know how to collect and how to take the direction, and you may reach there. So there would not be problem. So nowadays the goal is slightly changed, independent through interdependence. So here is also independence and the integration of the client rather than the solution. So solution is not, it is not that you have to solve the problem, but if you know whom you have to approach to get the solution, that is enough. And non-direct counseling may do that. Role of the counselor is to create an atmosphere in which the counselor can work out his own understanding. That is also important. So your role is to create the situation. Most of the even Rabindranath do so, who are the advocates of the naturalistic view. They may always they said that the child should go to the nature. They learn from the nature and do their do the uh, solve their own problems. So here is also important. The counselor role is to create the environment. Emotional aspect rather than the intellectual aspects is stressed. And nowadays, as you know, in modern education, in modern psychology also, there is a slightly changes in what should I say in the perspectives in which way we are looking to the problems. Previously, psychology most of the things psychology based on even in real psychology also most of the time the IQ was the dominant factor. Intelligence quotient was the dominant factor. Cognitive was the dominant factor. And how much cognition is there, whether you are able to solve your problem through the cognition or not. But nowadays, even when, after the Daniel Goldman, or so there is a slightly change. The intellectual aspect is given less emphasis as compared to the social intelligence and the emotional intelligence. You might have uh, or you may have there are around 20 students for example, so your IQ may be 90 to 110, maybe in between 90 to 110. All of your IQ is maybe in 90 to 110. But if we test your EQ, emotional quotient, if I test your SQ, social quotient, there is a huge differences there. And as a result, when the person is going to the organization for work, going to the organization as a professional, there is a most of the time there is a huge differences is created. And that is why the emotional aspect is given nowadays is more emphasized and which is emphasized. Have you know? Do you know the, for example, who are getting uh, 1 crore rupees per day salary. For example, the or the monthly salary is 10 crore. So, so there is interview board. What would they ask the employer? Do you have any idea? So you are the organizer giving to pay, but going to pay 10 crore or the 50 crore per month to you, and you went there for, but you go there for interview. So what type of questions they may ask you to judge you? Anyone? কি জিজ্ঞাসা করতে হবে? যাদেরকে 100 কোটি টাকা বেতন দেওয়া হয় পার মাস প্রতি মাসে বা 200 কোটি টাকা দেওয়া হয় প্রতি মাসে, তো তাদেরকে ইন্টারভিউ বলে কি জিজ্ঞাসা করা হয়? Do you have any idea? Anyone? Yes or no? Have you heard? No idea. Most of the time they ask the questions such as, so, how do you how do you deal your problems? How do you deal your failures? And what did you do when the organization was in a problems. So what was your role? So that time, that means they know that your intelligence level is okay. There is no problem in the intelligence. And most of the time, the question is based on the basically the IQ and EQ. How, as a leader, when they are going to pay you 10 crores or 15 crores, so that time that there is no problem in intelligence. They basically want to judge you whether you are able to uh, you have the leadership quality or not. So whether you will be asset for the organization or not, and that could be judged only through your EQ and SQ, not from the IQ. So that's why that is also given emphasis on the non-directive counseling. And as you know, that one permissive and accepting climate, it is true for everyone. Freedom of the individual. So in case of merit, is the freedom of the individual. Relieves tension due to the catharsis, move towards the acceptance of himself, confront the weakness without feeling the threatened. Time consuming, definitely when you are giving the solution, it may be less time consuming. But when you are asking solution from them, so it may be the time consuming, time taking. Wisdom and judgment for the client cannot be relied upon, and all the problems cannot be sorted out through the talking. So that is also important. And both when we body in approach, when we are just mixing up the directive and the non-directive counseling, so that is the eclectic counseling. Now another part is, and what are the areas of counseling? So just basically it is based on your syllabus. Here I am mentioning. So there are few areas. One is the mental health counseling, career counseling, which I will give focus on mental health counseling, career counseling, marriage counseling, grief counseling, and the genetic counseling. Genetic counseling, that is the part of the rehabilitation counseling where basically the gene is studied, and based on the gene, so the parents may be given the suggestions whether, for example, that they have the previous history of disability. So as a result, they are going for the new issues, they are planning for the next issue. So the whether they will go for that or not, and the other cases also the for identifying the medicine dose of medicine also, and that time also genetic code is analyzed, and based on that the many medicine may be prescribed. Becoming any certain loss, death incident, even the separation anxiety, separation that means the child, most of the time when the parents are working, it is developed generally at the age of 6, 7 years, or even the less also. There is a separation anxiety. For example, for the professional purpose, the parents may be live separately. The child is with mother, and the parents is outside. And most of the time, they are might have the parent the marital discord, and when they are talking, so they may be there may be a fight, there may be a conflict, and at that time the child, it affects the child. There may be a problem. The child may develop the behavior of the separation anxiety. It may be helps them to develop that. Then the marital discord or the hot discussion or the conflict may create the separation anxiety among the students, and there the grief counseling is really important, and really it is work out. Marriage counseling, as you know, it may be in the before, even during, and even before the divorce cases also marriage counseling person, and career counseling later on. And mental health for the various types of mental health issues may be addressed through the counsel. All of you are aware approaches. There is the psychodynamic and counseling. Psychodynamic counseling basically based on the Freudian counseling, where the id, ego, and superego, or the subconscious, conscious, and the preconscious. So mind is studied, and based on that when the suggestion is given most of the time. Okay. Now here is a question: which is the conscious mind and what is the unconscious mind? Do you have you aware about the which is the unconscious mind? Anyone? Which is our unconscious mind, or how do you define the unconscious mind or unconsciousness? And nowadays also there are many universities, even the Western University and Harvard-like universities, they are doing the power of unconsciousness, and there are several studies based on the unconscious mind theory, and they are giving emphasis that if we give the instruction to the unconscious mind, it can do the miracle. I will go back to that. So what is unconscious mind? Unconscious mind কাকে বলে, মানে কোন জিনিসটা? কেউ?
স্যার আনকনসিয়াসলি যেটা মানে আমরা ব্যাক অফ দি মাইন্ডে কাজ করে যেটা মানে
আর ভারতীয় ট্র্যাডিশন অনুযায়ী আনকনসিয়াস মাইন্ডটাকে কি বলা হয়েছে? What it is said in our Indian tradition. Okay. Unconscious mind. What
Sir,
is unconscious
absent
mind?
mind.
Absent mind means?
স্যার মনে করুন আমি আমাকে কোথাও যেতে হবে, কিন্তু তার আগে কিছু একটা ঘটনা ঘটেছে, আমার কাছে সেই ঘটনার জিনিসগুলোই শুধু মনে পড়ছে, কিন্তু আমি যেভাবে যাচ্ছি যে রুট ধরে সেগুলো হয়তো আমি মানে এমনি প্রতিদিনের অভ্যাসে যে যাই সেরকম ভাবে যাচ্ছি, মানে কি বলবো স্যার, যে ওইটা যে আমি যাচ্ছি সেইটা আমি ঠিকভাবে মনের মধ্যে করছি না, কিন্তু তার আগে যে ঘটনাটা ঘটেছে সেইটাই আমার ঠিকভাবে আছে।
No, it may be you are basically তুমি যেটা বলছো সেটা হচ্ছে অনেকটা এর আউটকামসটা, কিন্তু কোনটা আনকনসিয়াস মাইন্ড কোনটা?
স্যার যেটা আমি মনে করছি না, মানে চলে যাচ্ছি, মানে যে কাজটা আমি করছি কিন্তু সেটা আদৌ আমার মনের মধ্যে নেই। আমি যে যেখানে যাচ্ছি যে আমাকে অটো উঠতে হবে বা বাসে উঠতে হবে সেখানে আমি যাচ্ছি অভ্যাসবশতই যাচ্ছি।
ওকে, আচ্ছা, এনিওয়ান, ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ। আর কেউ?